Here we go. It's Charlie Boy. We're going to talk about Charles, King Charles. Okay. The reason why is just because the whole Charlie Kirk thing is a huge reference to Charles and Diana and the White Wedding. Now, what I've got up in here, I got the clock tower drawn in my decode chart. This is Fibonacci, Lucas numbers, what I call pi numbers, an extra row in here as well, which I call phi numbers to just make things even more confusing. And these are actual mathematical sequences, real stuff, so to speak, in a simple in a simple chart, just a regular number line across the top here. And interestingly enough, we can draw in the clock tower from Back to the Future. Remember, the clock tower is the temple of Diana, and on the clock tower, yeah, we've got, let me get rid of this, hang on a minute, we've got Charles's birthday numbers on the temple of Diana, Charles and Diana, 1114. Now, what is interesting is in the Back to the Future hoverboard scene, in the future there, basically, where that references back to the Hoover Dam, the hoverboard, okay, got all the water in front of the clock tower there, and Marty takes a dunk, and they smash through the big glass door, okay. That's all a reference to breaking out of the dam, probably the Hoover Dam, and this idea of being reborn, right? But it is interesting that the Cafe 80s has a load of references to the White Wedding, okay, which the White Wedding is Charles and Diana, and also in the newspaper we have references to Diana, okay. So it's all, there's a lot of encoding, dare I say it, that there's a potential date for the Hoover Dam tomorrow. I haven't even run the numbers for the Hoover Dam, but just going off of all of this stuff, and again, it's a potential date for Madonna tomorrow, or it's a potential date for some other thing to do with King Charles, Anyway, what we've got going on here, so we've got this reference, and again, the White Wedding. Let's just very quickly talk about the White Wedding, because we're going to talk about some number jumps to do with Prince Charles and the Twin Towers. Now, if you've seen this decode chart before, you'll know that there's also running in here, there's a tower here, and a tower here, the Twin Towers, okay, and 55 and 88 are the total for these two columns. Very interesting with Back to the Future as well, and all of the references to 9/11 in Back to the Future. If you've not seen my decode on this before, you can probably go into the back catalogue and find something to do with the Chart of Lorraine and Back to the Future. Okay, I'm sure I've got a video that explains all this. But the stylized 55 up here is the lightning. Goes down the line. Look what it passes. 9/11 goes over to the other side of the street. The Fibonacci sequence here, I just changed the 0 to a 9 because in the Fibonacci cycle, that 0 would actually be a 9. Okay, so that's the Western Auto sign on the side of the wall there. We've got the two fire trails which are created from the 11 here. We've got the barber pole sign, which is also the maypole, which we have the numbers for May Day there for the maypole. Then we also have pi numbers in here, and of course the fire trail also makes the symbol for pi. Okay, so there's a ton of little bits and pieces in here. I think I'm probably the only person that's got some wacko thing like this, decode chart like this. It's absolutely mental when you think about it, how we can actually get the whole scene from Back to the Future kind of in this, that very important, rebirth for Marty, within this table here. Okay. Anyway, So when you have these two towers, the twin towers here, we have tower number 7 as well that also fell down on that day. And tower 7 is really what that is. It's really the balance between these two towers. Okay, especially when it comes to the number 29, because the number 29, if we reduce this 11 and 18 here individually, this will become 2 and 9. And if we add these two together, it's also 29. So 29 is like the perfect balance number for these two, right here. 729 is the day of what? Yeah, Diana. Here's the Diana, the temple, the church, the kirk, and Charlie Boy. Okay, that's their white wedding day. Okay, in fact, it's 81. And here is Diana's, getting a bit messy. 7-1 is her birthday numbers there. So, we'll get rid of all that crud a minute, just in case I have to come back to this, okay? So, but that is the clock tower, yeah? The numbers on the clock, yeah? The 14 to do with Charlie Kirk and King Charles. I'm probably going to call him Prince Charles like a million times through this, so you have to bear with me. Anyway, he's going to be 77. So he's going to be 77. So 77 is pretty important. If we look at, I've got actually the number 55, but if we look at the number 55, which again is the lightning strike on there, on the clock tower, the 55th composite number is 77. And obviously 7 times 11, 711, we've heard that reference used before for 9/11 from Donald Trump. And of course 711 is just right here. That's what forms the number 18. Okay, and obviously hugely tied to those numbers there are tied back to Madonna with her first white wedding, to Sean Penn, that's his birthday numbers, and of course we just go around in circles with all this stuff. Anyway, let's do some number jumps real quick, because I want to just whiz through this as quickly as possible. So the first number jump I've got up is I've got 9/11/2001. Of course, is going to be important with what I just showed you there with Back to the Future. And obviously, I think we all know that the Queen is born on the opposite side of the year to 9/11. Okay, her birthday is the twin day for 9/11. Yeah, 9/11 is the 254th day of the year. 111. Yeah, 3 ones. King Charles III. 111 days left in the year. Her birthday is 111 days into the year, the 21st of April, and then she's got 254 days left. Okay, so it's the twin day of the year. Interestingly, for the twin, the twin event. Okay, with 3 towers. Okay. Anyway, what we're dealing with predominantly, though, is the number 11, the idea of balancing the metaphysical and the physical side of reality. What have we got here? 8831. What does that mean? Let's click on it. Let's have a quick look. Come on. 9/11 through to Charles's 77th birthday. Oh, the 1100 prime. That in itself is just absolutely mental. Okay, what else have we got in here, Dan? Let's crack on. Okay, we've already done this. This is just showing you that King Charles will be 77 years old tomorrow. Okay, it's the 13th of November today. So what's this date here, Dan? Okay, this is, interestingly, 523. If you recall, 523, we've had 523 show up a little bit. We had a decode with Charlie Kirk, Moonraker, and the actual in Moonraker there's this reference to the cable car, and we actually had the actual cable car thing incident. A real life cable car crash actually happened on the 23rd of May. I can't remember when it was though. not that long ago. Did a video covering that at the time. Anyway, this is this date here, the 23rd of May 2006, and one other thing with the 23rd, the 523, not this one maybe, no, here we are. This is Michael J. Fox's birthday through to, I showed you this just the other day for 11/11, but it also works for the 12th. He is 235. Okay, there's our numbers to the 23rd of May in a palindromic format. Okay, and this is the night that Marty is reborn. Yeah, the night of the storm. Okay, the day after 11/11. So this is well interesting. Okay, that this number's showing up, because if we could ever get to this number jump, this here is, they rebuilt obviously Tower 7 because it got demoed. They forgot to crash a plane into it, but whatever. What we'll see is it opened on May 23, 2006. Okay, so when we do that number jump through to Charlie Boy's birthday, check it out. Okay, 7116. These are numbers. What numbers are these? It's jumbled up, but this is Diana's birthday numbers. Yeah, 1st of July 61. So that is, I mean, that is just pretty mental in itself. But we keep going through these number jumps. Let me show you another set of number jumps here. Okay, now we're jumping off of Towers for a second, and this is just the White Wedding through to Charlie Boy's birthday, 77, 44 years, 109. Now this is interesting because of when Charlie Kirk died, he was 44 years, 44 days after the White Wedding. And on the White Wedding this year, 7/29 this year, Charlie Kirk was 11611 days old. So we had a palindromic number again with the 116 number. Okay, but look at this. This is again 44109. Very interesting with Charlie Kirk's death as well. And check it out. Golden ratio numbers, Madonna birthday numbers popping up right here. So again, you know, tomorrow could look interesting for Madonna, could look interesting for the Hoover Dam. Yeah, there's multiple things that, you know, could look interesting, or it could just be that all of this 9/11 stuff, you know, still connects into this, you know, it's just part of the story, you know. Anyway, so I will be keeping my eyes and ears open for the Hoover Dam and for Madonna tomorrow, but likelihood is it's just part of the backstory for the whole thing. Okay, what we got here, Dan? I don't think there's anything interesting about this actually. This is Charlie Boy's birthday, marriage to Camilla. We've done right. Let's jump onto these because I got some other interesting stuff. So this is One World Trade Center, I'm sure, WTC1, and that is the opening of WTC. Yes, 15th of December 70. Okay, through to 11/11 this year. Okay, now we're gonna come back on 11/11 a little bit here in a minute as well, because it's such an important date, with the idea of remembering. Okay, because the member is the what? Yeah, it's the phallic symbolism. It's a tower. Yeah, the obelisk is a tower, and the idea of remembering. Okay, to remember. Okay, to reform the member. Okay. Anyway, super duper important 20055. Let me show you why that number is extremely interesting, actually. So we'll just drop back to this. If we actually look at the doorway here, okay, we got that numerology 2055 there. Okay, so that is pretty interesting. We're lacking a 0, but that doesn't really matter in numerology. Okay, let's do another one down. Come on, crack on. Right, now what have we got? 11/3/2014. Let me show you what this is. I think it's this one here. This is this new World Trade Center. No, this isn't this. Hang on a minute. We'll come to that in just. Hang on a minute. I'm jumping ahead here. This is what we want here. No, hang on a minute. That wasn't it? Hang on a minute. Oh, dear. What are you doing, mate? Come on. What was this? 11/3/2014. Yeah, that was. Hang on a minute. No, what was 11/3? Oh no, that's, you know what that is. Oh gosh, I don't have these numbers memorized. That is actually One World Trade Center. The opening of that, November the 3rd, 2014, 11 years ago, obviously. But it's actually to his birthday, 11/11. So this again is absolutely mental. Obviously, you could include the end date there and get 11/12, which is interesting for the thunderstorm. But 11/11 showing up again. You know, just 2 seconds. You know, why is 11/11 so important? Because 11/11. This is what's on each side of this metaphysical doorway. The number 11/11 again. It's at the Hoover Dam. 11/11 with the inlet towers. Again, the Titanic that sunk, yeah? 4 funnels, 11/11, right? So, you know, this is super duper important with the idea of the temple. What are the numbers we've got here? Right, so this is the new World Trade Center 3. And I'll tell you what we haven't done. You know, one thing you can just look at is some of these numbers that actually pop up with this, with World Trade Center 3. And I'll show you why I'm looking at World Trade Center 3 as well, because of 3 towers again. Look at the location, 10007 with Diana. I've jumped ahead here again. I'm on 3 now instead of 1. Well, anyway, we'll come on to this one in a minute, but this is one of the things we're going to look at, the new number 3 World Trade Center. I'll show you why we're looking at that as well. But look, yeah, June the 11th with Charlie Kirk's White Wedding, 11611. But the reason why I pick up on number 3 is look at the completion date, not the completion, the opening date for World Trade Center 3. The year of the White Wedding on July the 1st, Diana's birthday as well. So again, you know, there's a method to my madness on looking at some of these things. But anyway, so World Trade Center 3, let's do it now, seeing as that's what we were on. Okay. Yep. 611, blah blah blah. 521. Right, 521. Why is that important? Let's just jump back to this real quick. It's at the top of the dartboard. That's one important thing. It's also right here. It encodes, yeah, if we just cross-reference, 213 is encoded with that actual number, 521. Okay, amongst other things, an abbreviation, Christmas numbers there, and there are actually a whole bunch of other references to that, but you know, like the dartboard. But you know, I don't want to spend too long on all this stuff that we've covered before. I just thought that was, again, just another interesting little thing. What have we got here? Let's just back up a minute. 3-8. I think that had something to do. That was when they broke ground with that thing. I don't know what was interesting about that. Hang on a minute. Maybe one that didn't get deleted. Boy, this computer's really having trouble. Yeah, I think that was just one that didn't get quite deleted. Anyway, let's move on. Don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on this. And that was another one that didn't get deleted. I was looking at from the founding of the country, but there was another. Where's this one? Okay. This is Diana's birthday through to Charles's birthday. And was there something? I can't remember if there was anything interesting about this as well. There's just a whole bunch of stuff in here that I should have deleted. Okay, that was another one I should have deleted there as well. Have to say though, that this is very similar to whatchamacallit, Michael J. Fox's number, born the same year. Okay, please tell me we've got something interesting here. No, I don't think so. That's just a random Madonna thing in there. This was the one. Okay, this is Madonna's birthday through to the White Wedding, 8383. Okay, which was interesting with the number 77 and the number 55 at the top of the clock tower there. Okay, so 8383, and then also this is Diana's death, and I thought this was interesting because this is the 30th. This is the day before. So today's date, 131. The train, in Back to the Future, 131 train crashes. Okay, before Marty is what? Reborn. Do you get how that works there? So the 131 train, this is Diana's car crash, her death date. It is 131. The crash of that train in Back to the Future is the rebirth of Marty. Okay, and we've got, look at this. We click on to the next day, and there we go. The birth of Charlie on 77. Okay, what we got here? Charlie Kirk, and I didn't even run all the numbers for Charlie Kirk. Maybe we could do that right now. But Charlie Kirk, his birthday through to Charles 77 is 3232. And I thought, ooh, that's interesting, because I thought I randomly had seen something with Die Another Day with Madonna. Now, Die Another Day, think about Diana's name, Princess Di Another Day, 2323. And remember, this date here ties into Back to the Future, ties into Christopher Lloyd's birthday, and also what I keep going on about is the 131 train and the Montparnasse train crash. Okay, on that date there. So that is it's just a kind of an interesting tie back. And it's 2323. See Charlie Kirk with 3232, and then Madonna. So it did make me think, ooh, I haven't really investigated it, but it would sort of tie in with like your Zach Hubbard's Prince dying on the Queen's birthday, and the Queen of Pop, dying on, well, I keep calling him Prince Charles, on the King's birthday. Okay, it would be an interesting concept, wouldn't it? So yeah, we've done that. Okay, the 23,532, and that is also interesting, just with the number 23 and 32 on each side of this for Michael J. Fox. This number here, so let's get on to World War One. This is, and of course, well, we'll come on to a Remembrance Day in just a second, but 7/28, 1914 is the beginning of World War One. Now look, 111 years, 110 days, or guess we could. The 15th would take us up to a very interesting looking set of numbers there. So again, that is pretty mental as well, just with the 111 stuff. But don't forget that the end of the war, okay, marked by 11/11, okay, 1918, the 11th hour, yada yada yada. Look where we're at. 107, 107, 107, and in fact, I'm going to tell you something. World War One, because I like World War Two. I don't think I had any real family members that actually went and fought in World War Two, not as far as I know, anyway. Close family members, anyway. But in World War One, not close family members, but we have a family story for World War One. Like, it would have been my great uncles, 7 of them, 7 brothers. I'm pretty sure it's 7. Or I'll probably have to check that, but I'm pretty sure it's 7 brothers. They all went off to World War One, and they all came back. And you can probably look that story up. It's in the newspaper. They've run it a couple of times in Ireland, because they were all from Ireland. Anyway, I think there's only a couple other families that had a large number of brothers like that went off to war and all came back. I think the other family is a New Zealander family that got more. But yeah, anyway, there you go. Interesting with the number 7 popping up and World War One connection there. Just another little random, I hope I'm getting that right though with 7 brothers. I'm pretty sure it's 7. Anyway, 107 again. This is Diana's numbers again. So that makes that look very interesting again. Well, what other blooming stuff we got here, Dan? Oh, just randomly, I thought, well, I'll stick the other prints in just to see, if there's any marginal connections there as well. And of course, lo and behold, 15851 the day before. Palindromic again. We could probably spend a little while talking about that set of numbers there, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. I think we've done everything. So that, a couple of the major things to remember is this 11 reference here with this prime number from 9/11 through. That is just crazy. Okay, that to me is like absolutely mental. That is absolutely crazy. And then this connection here with the new World Trade Center 7, and this connection with Diana's numbers. Okay, this is marginal. This is with the White Wedding and Madonna through to this date. Okay, which again could put Madonna on that day, along with some of these other things. But like I said, I haven't really sat down and had a proper look at anything with Madonna, to be quite honest. And this is the other one, is One World Trade Center through to his birthday, 11 years, 11 days. Yeah, and then of course going on to the World War stuff. That crazy as well. Okay, I think I'll leave it there. It's undeniable that obviously Prince Charles, Diana, like I said in Back to the Future 2, the clock tower, when they smash through that doorway there, that is the like the rebirth event, and they've got that water feature, like with the boulders, like Boulder Dam, like the Hoover Dam and the hoverboard and the Hoover. And there is a ton of references to Diana, Prince Charles and Diana, okay, in that scene there. So what else to say about it, really? I don't know. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. I'm leaving it there. Thanks for watching. Hopefully that was quick enough. Maybe that wasn't too boring. Sorry about them random number jumps in there, but you know, is what is. All right, I'll catch you on another one soon. All right, cheers, good night, God bless. All right, hang on.